It is time now for the Muni Moment. This week, we're focusing on tariffs, of course, and those upcoming midterm elections. Now, Moody's Investor Service had a report out focusing on the rural regions of America, how those regions have really struggled the most since the recession about 10 years ago. Joining me now to discuss all of this, Marcia Van Wagner, your Senior Credit Officer over at Moody's. So great to have you here. Walk me through the report. Since 2008, you really talk about how these rural regions have really struggled. What did you find in terms of revenue and unemployment rate that was really different from the rural regions?
So rural areas in the United States are caught in kind of a vicious cycle where they are losing population, the workforce is aging, the workforce is shrinking. Two-thirds of rural counties haven't regained the jobs that they lost during the recession, and here we are 10 years on. So that's been had a serious impact on economic growth. And it's part of a longer-term trend in the United States where we are employing a lot more people in producing services than in producing goods. And in rural areas, like twice as many people proportionately are in goods production as they are in urban areas. Services are really, take place in cities. So that's really impacted.
As we know, when the federal government makes cuts, they pass those costs down onto the state. The state then passes that down onto the local governments. The local governments have nowhere else to pass it on to, so they're probably the ones getting hit the hardest. What's your take on some of those local governments?
Right, so local governments are really challenged because they get most of their revenue from either property taxes and sales taxes, both of which are impacted by slow growth and slow population growth. And they also have increasing demand for services, especially public safety services. So the local governments that have flexibility to make cuts or raise revenues can kind of muddle through this a lot better than those that don't. And that really varies a lot from state to state.
Talk to me quickly about tariffs. That's been in the news a lot this week, particularly when it comes to the heart of America. I'm thinking agriculture and some of the manufacturing. How does that impact this?
Well, it's not helping. Again, this goes back to the goods versus service thing, where most of the tariffs are on goods. And so, for example, the agricultural tariffs impact commodity prices for agriculture. Those prices had already been falling. So that's going to be tough for the agricultural sector. And even like steel tariffs, which are designed to try and boost employment in steel, there's a lot more employment in manufacturing firms that use steel rather than those that produce it.